Wasabi guys, welcome back to another weekly warnings episode. For the end of November, we still have a lot of the same issues showing up. TCG Player does not seem interested at all in fixing this, so people have asked me, what can we do? Just continue talking about it, continue sharing this information. The more that people are aware of the issues with that site, the better off they're going to be, the fewer people that are actually going to get burned. It might take a while, folks. It really is up to TCG Player taking control of how the market values are being tracked on their site. Currently, that is happening whenever a card is selling, it impacts the market value. So this card is worth maybe $3. I sell it one day for $100, maybe to myself. That will affect the market value. It is temporary. Over time, when the majority of sales continue to be only around $3, that number will come right back down. But for a short period of time, they get people excited. They want to sell off their bulk inventory. And that's the whole purpose of that manipulation of the market. It's to trick people into thinking that a $3 card has suddenly a market value of around $20 when that interest is artificial. So the first card we're going to look at here is Bantu the Glorified, and this is market manipulation. We didn't really have much of it last week, which was a good thing. This week it's coming right back. So as you can see, the average listing is around $250. So for it to get a market that's double that, and for that to happen pretty quickly, we know something's going on. And this happened pretty much exactly a week ago. 5 of these sold at near mint for $100. Every other sale is $2 or less, so you know that's market manipulation. That's exactly what they were looking for. And because this happened, Bantu the Glorified is one of the top trending cards for the week. You're not going to struggle to find a listing where you actually have a fair price. As for the card itself, I really do miss the days when we thought Amonkhet was a bad set because it kind of got rid of power creep. And the gods are a perfect example of this. They're not nearly as powerful as the ones from Theros. I mean, some of them are better than others. Bantu the Glorified, there are so many other black cards that do this, but better. If you need a sack outlet, you have plenty where you don't even have to pay mana. And Menace and Indestructible for 3 mana and Commander isn't that impressive. Next card is Brave the Elements. I'm not entirely certain about this one, but it is another one that also shot up overnight. Market value almost around 3, average listing of a single $1. I remember this being a standard legal card, and the last time that happened, that was probably around Core Set 2014. It was an okay card to include in a Boros Burn deck. Remember Boros Reckoner, that kind of deck? And I remember using this card and thinking, wow, this is actually pretty good protection. It's only 1 mana. It is going to protect your white creatures because it is that specific. You know, it's mostly going to be a sideboard card anywhere else. We have Fate Unraveler from Born of the Gods. A pretty good way to tell if this is manipulation is if there are multiple different printings of a card and you notice that one is not doing the same thing. It's not behaving in the same way when you look at the charts. This isn't always the case. I mean, obviously, some printings are different in value. You have older original prints that are still worth more, and those prices might fluctuate. But generally, when you see that one card is still relatively worthless as a bulk rare, and the other one to more than double in value, there's probably some manipulation. I like the card, but it's a more expensive Underworld Dreams that's a creature, and it's easier to remove because it's a creature. If you want to be very thorough in your research, I highly recommend that you go and check out the sales history snapshots. It's a little window that pops up, and the reason why I like looking at these is because it helps me to get an idea of why the market value is changing. You have some outrageous price changes, like when someone tries to sell 5 $100 cards to themselves of a card that's normally like $2. And then you have ones that are more subtle like these. I look for when it's a significant premium, and $5.98 is a significant premium on this card because you see every other sell for around $1 to $2. And it's the exact same number too, which tells me it's probably the same seller doing this. And in this case, it's not necessarily that the seller is selling these to themselves. It could be that they're using the direct feature so that when you use the card optimizer, you are likely to select their card for convenience. That seems the most likely reason as to why you get a lot of these that are not super expensive, but they are a ridiculous premium on a card that shouldn't be as expensive as around $6. Next, we have Braids Arisen Nightmare. Now, this is market manipulation, but I don't want you to think that because a card has been manipulated in the market value, that it's a bad card, because this is, again, one of my favorite cards from Dominaria United. I think it could totally see a genuine increase in its value, but unfortunately that's not what's going on here. We see something very similar here. We have a lot of $2 sales, even sub $2 sales. You have a near mint foil that sells for maybe a little over $3, but we're supposed to believe that on the 30th, this sold twice for $5.09 and also once more for $6.75. This is not how people behave when they see that they have cheaper alternatives. If you have to go beyond the first 2 pages of buying any of these cards, you're probably not going to buy them at all. That's the average consumer behavior when they're shopping on a site like TCG Player. And we get a really good example with this card. Now, these are not the listings that have sold, but this is exactly what they're trying to do. Last Save Point is a seller I've talked about several times, and what they'll do is that they will create several listings of the same card at varying conditions. They like casting a wide enough net so that they can eventually get the direct feature. Now, the direct feature isn't always available, it depends on the card. Direct is when TCG Player ships you the card from their own inventory so that they receive the seller's card for their inventory to replace it later. So when you see that blue lightning bolt symbol for TCG Player, that means that if you buy this card, you're actually getting the one from TCG Player. And that's what people use to optimize their cards. Well, I want to get all my cards from Direct, so they optimize it, and it looks like it's working because, holy hell, look at all these different listings. I know most of these are foil, but you still have several from Last Save Point. And as I've pointed out, it's clearly because they want to cast a wide enough net, because that's the only way you would ever explain selling near mints for less than moderately playeds. And they're doing the same exact thing for the foils as well. A near mint foil for $15.79, but a moderately played one for $19.99? You would be very close to fixing a lot, TCG Player, if you just opened your eyes and you looked at how ridiculous this is. I've been saying it all along, you don't have to believe everything I say, but you cannot look at this and tell yourself, oh, that's normal, that's what normal sellers do on the site all the time. And of course, the feedback system is garbage. A lot of sellers say, well, you need a way to answer bad faith customers. I mean, it's ultimately TCG Player's fault. They need to fix that for both sides. But this is still embarrassing when you see this garbage, and they still have a 100% feedback score. That's just not realistic at all. Next, we get a familiar friend, because the same exact thing happened with this card back around September. Colossal Majesty, specifically from Commander 2019. A few months back, it was another market manipulation experiment. This is what they do. They get these bulk cards from Commander products that they know they have a lot of in their inventory. And Colossal Majesty is not an unplayable card, so it's very likely that there are some people who would just randomly get this for a Commander deck, making it a prime target for some manipulation. And of course, you go check out the listings, you see a familiar face. As you can see, the other ones do not have the blue lightning bolt. That means they're not direct, and TCG Player does not have either the card or the exact quantity in their inventory. But they do have those 8 moderately playeds, and that's again the whole reason why they changed the condition. It's so that they can eventually get that direct feature. What's weird is that TCG Player has a vested interest in fixing this. This is their own feature. It's supposed to be convenient for the customer. Next, we have Arkham Dax, and I think this is the only card in the video where it's actually genuine interest. You go check the listings, you have one for $3, but that's from a random 60 cent seller. The rest are right around where it says it's heading. And you want to check the other printings, and it looks like Arkham Daxon is still doing pretty well in Cold Snap. Of course, we have to point out that the first one you see here, the first listing, they shove it right in your face, direct by TCG Player. $29.98. It's a premium. It's direct. That's why they're doing it, guys. So anyway, that's going to do it for this week's weekly warnings. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. This is an important series to me. I feel like I need to keep talking about it. Eventually, I will phase this one out once things improve, if they ever improve, and then bring back the Market Watch where I get to discuss genuine interest. But it does seem like it's going to take a long time for us to get there. And this needs to be said. We need to share this information because there are people who are actually getting ripped off. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.